Hey, this is Dr. Santos. I want to talk to you a little bit about improving time management. This is a great video, in my humble opinion, for anyone that has a hard time with time management, and perhaps you have ADHD or you think that you have some symptoms related to ADHD, which once again, ADHD, attention, hyperactive. Look at that. I just stumbled on my words. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Now, it could be leaning one direction, which is hyperactive, another direction, which could be inattentive, or it could be a combination of both. With this video, we're going to focus on those of us that have a tough time with time management. We lose our sense of time. And I'll tell you, that's me. I certainly do that. There's times I'll get in the shower and then I'm looking at my clock and I'm saying, okay, it's 2 o'clock. I've got a meeting, maybe, getting coffee with a buddy at 3. I'm going to be able to take a shower. And then after that, I'm going to be able to quickly maybe trim up my beard. And then after that, I'm going to be able to go downstairs, make a nice sandwich, maybe an Italian. And then I should have enough time to vacuum the back of my car because I've been meaning to get to that. Sounds wild, right? But in here, it's making sense. And it's really interesting, right? Because when you look at attention deficit hyperactive disorder, it goes into these areas of executive functioning, which, if you get a chance, Google that, ADHD executive functioning, and then you're going to see that it has different domains or categories, right? All the way from emotional regulation, organization, to the one that we're covering, time management. So then what it tells us in a very direct way, hopefully when you're reading through it lets us know, hey, this is probably going to be an area that you're going to have some struggle with, right? So then we try to understand with time management, which is why you're watching the video, how does this really come out? Like, what is the issue? Well, the issue with time management for those with ADHD, and in general, right, if you're watching this and you're trying to improve time management, is that we lose our sense of time. We have a hard time thinking how long something is going to take, right? I may think that the dishes are going to take 20 minutes, but they may take 45 minutes. And with individuals that have ADHD and then they struggle with time management, what also takes place is that they may even forget the list of things that they were supposed to do, while also struggling to understand that list of items on the to-do list. Not only what am I supposed to be doing, how long does each one take? And then if I pull one out, like doing the dishes, and I expand it into each separate step or phase, or part one, part two, etc., I may have a hard time to figure out what is the timing for each of those. And then another common challenge is when someone with ADHD is engaging in time management of a task, and let's say they're washing the dishes. So sometimes the tasks that take a little bit longer, so let's say that it's just waiting until the dishes dry, right? If I'm doing a hand towel and I'm drying it, but I'm waiting for that, those long ones can kind of really mess up the next steps in there, because that long process can be boring. Sometimes somebody with ADHD will say, I just got bored, and then they lose track of that. They go and do something else. Or they just stay there too long and then lose track of how long the next items on that process are supposed to take. So obviously you're here because you're trying to figure out, what do I do? how do I address this? How do I navigate this? And what I want to do is I want to start with an example, and then you could take that with you and implement it. First, let's go into what's something that you want to have with you. So I'm just gonna hold this out here because it's a notebook, right? And I could use this as my calendar. Now, that's something you could plug in. In a calendar, what I want to have on there is I want to have a to-do list for today. And then maybe right next to it, vertical line on this side, I have things I didn't get to, right? And I have that for each day. And there I have all my items that I need to do. So this is something that just stays with me. Why? Well, because when I'm looking at ADHD and I'm thinking about executive functioning and I'm thinking about time management, I know that likely I am going to forget what all these items are that I'm supposed to do, right? Likely I'm going to forget that. So I need that calendar with me as a tool, right? And then when you look at it in that manner, you've got lots of tools that you use in your life. Like a phone is a tool, right? Your belt is a tool to help you hold your pants up. And the list goes on. There's so many tools that we use. We don't have to say that it is a tool because there's something wrong with me, right? This tool I'm using to make life a little bit easier. Let me put a belt on so that when I'm running with my kids, my pants are staying right in my waist where I want them to. Otherwise, they're going to get so long, I'm going to trip on myself. So I need the tool, that belt, to utilize it effectively. I know I went deep into the whole that example, but I really wanted to emphasize the importance of, loving yourself, respecting yourself, appreciating yourself, and knowing that whether it's ADHD, anxiety, depression, whichever area you are navigating, right? You, my friend, you're not broken, right? You're not broken, right? I am not broken. Right? I'm learning things about myself, and then I'm plugging in, right, tools that can help me move forward. It's a rainy day, give me a tool. Tool is an umbrella, so to make it a little bit easier. Had to give you one more example. So here, when looking at the planner, this planner you have on there, you have the things that you want to do. And then as you go through the day, 3 times a day, morning, during the day, at night, go into that list to see what you're accomplishing and then what needs to move to the next day. There's a reason I want you to use a calendar. And the reason is you're going to start to learn which tasks end up getting moving over and over and over. And part of that is going to teach you perhaps that you're procrastinating, perhaps that the tasks that take 1 hour versus 5 minutes are harder to do, right? So those are really important because now we go into step 2 or part 2, or what you can implement, right? And this one has to do with increasing your own awareness of which tasks you're avoiding, which ones you're struggling with. So let's say, as an example, that I've got to clean the bathroom and I've got to scrub the shower floor. I got to scrub the walls. I need to put all the toiletry items away, toothbrush where it goes, clean the toilet, right? All that good stuff. And let's just imagine that there's 5 things that I'm doing in the bathroom to clean it. And the longest one is a shower one, right? Cleaning the shower. If I go to my planner and I notice that the shower cleaning keeps getting procrastinated, I keep pushing it to the next day, that's a hint for me. It tells me, hey, something is going on with this task, that time is being impacted. You're avoiding it for some reason. So then what I'm going to do with this task is I'm going to expand it open, right, into what I mentioned before, those 5 areas of it, all the way from cleaning the sink, the toilet, the big one, the shower. And then I'm going to go at them one at a time. So I'm going to start that process. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out my relationship with that system. Do I do okay with these, but then I struggle with this one? Now I'm going to implement the last strategy here. There's many more. These I just find that go really well. The last one here is where you have these tasks, right? So we've got cleaning the bathroom, and I notice that I'm struggling with the really long one. What I want to look at is time awareness. Typically, most of us have our phone on us or some kind of wristwatch, right? As odd as this may sound to some, it could be a task of itself to have to go, what time is it? To have to pull my phone out and go, what time is it? And that has to do with what's called time blindness, which literally means just that, where this becomes a task, so then I'm less likely to do it, and I lose track of time. I'm thinking that cleaning the restroom is going to take 1 hour, but it's 2, 3, 4 hours. So what I want to have is I want to have maybe a clock in the bathroom, another one in the kitchen, right? I just want to add them. You don't have to put them everywhere. My brain just kind of went to Alice in Wonderland, where there's like clocks everywhere. Or what was the other one with Captain Hook? Remember that old movie? And then he goes in, you go into that room and there's like all these clocks. No, it doesn't have to be to that degree. But you want a few so that they're able to find you, you're able to find them, versus me just sticking to my watch and my phone. If this is my office, maybe I'm going to put one up there, right, so I can see it consistently. If I'm in the bathroom, I have another one in there. In the kitchen, another one in there. Having these, right, having that, it reduces time blindness, which then helps to improve your effectiveness when engaging in these tasks, overall supporting time management. So now, as you walk away, what do you walk away with? Number 1, look at plugging in that calendar. Begin that process with it. Number 2, when you have tasks that you're procrastinating, let that be a hint to you that task needs to be break that down into much more mini ones. So if it's a big task like clean the bathroom, we're going to break it down into 5 or 10 different parts of it. And then on your to-do list, you would have those parts. Now you wouldn't have just a giant bathroom. So mine would say clean the sink area. It would say, scrub the toilet, right? These specific tasks. My name is Dr. Santos. As you've seen in other videos, I have ADHD. It's something that I see in many spaces of my life, all the way from this morning. My wife asked me to go in the garage, and now I know, right? She said, go grab me some trash bags and some paper towels. I came back a little bit later with trash bags. She says, what are paper towels? Oh yeah, paper towels. Right. So little items like that are like these gentle kisses of reminders of that ADHD just kind of making its way. And what do? Right? We acknowledge it, and then we look at, okay, what tool do I need to plug in to help with this? I appreciate you watching. I'm having fun. I hope that you're having fun being a part of this channel. Share with a friend. Share. I'll see you in the next video.